What if the greatest sprinter in history looked at the fastest teenager on Earth, and instead of celebrating him, chose to warn him? That's exactly what happened after Gout Gout stunned the athletics world with a breathtaking 19.67-second 200-meter run. At just 18 years old, the Australian sensation didn't just break records, he ran faster as a teenager than Usain Bolt ever did. Overnight, headlines declared the arrival of the sport's next superstar. Fans were already asking the biggest question imaginable: is Gout Gout the next Usain Bolt? But Bolt's response caught everyone off guard. He didn't tell Gout to enjoy the spotlight. He didn't predict Olympic gold. He didn't promise greatness. Instead, he delivered a message that every young athlete needed to hear. A message built from painful personal experience. According to Bolt, raw talent isn't the hardest part of becoming a legend. Staying focused when fame, money, distractions, and impossible expectations arrive, that's the real challenge. And here's what makes this story so fascinating. Bolt wasn't speaking as a commentator. He was speaking as someone who had already lived through exactly what Gout is experiencing today. He knows what it's like to become a global sensation before adulthood. He knows how quickly success can disappear. And he knows that one wrong decision can change an entire career. So what was the warning that stopped the track world in its tracks? And could those words determine whether Gout Gout becomes the next Olympic legend, or the next forgotten prodigy? The answer may be the most important lesson Usain Bolt has ever shared. Long before the world compared him to Usain Bolt, Gout Gout was simply a young boy with an extraordinary story. Born on December 29, 2007, in Ipswich, Queensland, Gout is the son of South Sudanese parents who fled civil war in search of a safer future. Before settling in Australia, the family spent years rebuilding their lives after unimaginable hardship. Like many refugee families, they arrived with hope, determination, and a willingness to work for every opportunity. No one expected that one of those opportunities would eventually produce one of the fastest teenagers the world had ever seen. Ironically, sprinting wasn't always the plan. Gout wasn't raised inside elite training programs or surrounded by Olympic coaches from childhood. In fact, his journey into athletics happened almost by accident. While attending school, an opening became available on the athletics team, and he decided to give it a try. That simple decision changed everything. During one of his earliest races, Gout didn't even have professional sprint spikes. While many of the other competitors looked like experienced athletes, he lined up wearing ordinary running shoes. Then the gun fired. Within seconds, everyone watching realized they were witnessing something special. He crossed the finish line comfortably ahead of the field. Teachers stopped what they were doing. Parents looked at each other in disbelief. Coaches immediately began asking the same question. Who is this kid? But surprisingly, Gout himself wasn't convinced he was destined for greatness. Like many young athletes, he simply enjoyed competing. Winning races felt exciting, but becoming a world-class sprinter seemed almost impossible. Everything changed when one person saw something that everyone else had only begun to notice. His coach believed he possessed rare natural talent. More importantly, she believed he needed someone to tell him that. According to Gout, hearing those words completely changed his mindset. Someone finally convinced him that his speed wasn't just impressive for school competitions, it had the potential to take him around the world. From that moment forward, everything became more serious. Training sessions grew longer. Technique became more important. Every race became another chance to improve. And the improvements came quickly. Year after year, Gout kept lowering his times, setting youth records and attracting attention across Australian athletics. By the age of 14, he had already established himself as one of the country's brightest sprint prospects. Coaches admired not only his explosive speed but also how rapidly he learned new techniques. His stride became smoother. His starts became sharper. His confidence continued growing. Soon, people weren't simply talking about Australia's next great sprinter. Some quietly began mentioning a much bigger name. Usain Bolt. At first, the comparison seemed almost unbelievable. After all, Bolt wasn't just another Olympic champion. He was widely regarded as the fastest man in history, a global icon whose records had redefined what humans believed was possible. Comparing any teenager to Bolt seemed unfair. Yet the similarities kept growing. Like Bolt, Gout possessed exceptional natural speed at a remarkably young age. Like Bolt, he generated excitement every time he stepped onto the track. And like Bolt, he carried expectations that would only become heavier with every victory. Then came the performance that changed everything. Early in the 2026 season, Gout opened his campaign with a stunning 100-meter run that immediately caught the attention of athletics fans. It wasn't simply the time that impressed observers, it was how relaxed and effortless he looked doing it. People sensed something bigger was coming. Only weeks later, they got their answer. At the Australian Championships, Gout produced the race that would make headlines around the world. His incredible 19.67-second 200 meters didn't just break records, it broke the world under-20 record and surpassed Usain Bolt's fastest time as a teenager. Almost overnight, the comparisons exploded. Social media declared the arrival of the next sprint superstar. News outlets called him one of the greatest young talents the sport had ever seen. Fans began dreaming about Olympic gold. But while everyone else focused on the stopwatch, one man focused on something far more important. Usain Bolt wasn't impressed by the numbers alone. He was thinking about everything that comes after them. And that's exactly why his message to Gout would surprise the entire sporting world. Usain Bolt's message wasn't designed to create headlines. It was designed to prevent history from repeating itself. When CNN Sports asked Bolt about Gout's incredible rise, many fans expected him to predict multiple Olympic gold medals or call the Australian teenager the future of sprinting. Instead, Bolt chose honesty over hype. He spoke from experience. According to Bolt, the biggest danger for a young superstar isn't losing a race. It's losing focus. He explained that when success arrives at such a young age, life changes almost overnight. Fame grows. Sponsorship opportunities appear. The media wants interviews. Social media places every move under a microscope. Suddenly, everyone wants a piece of your time. And that's exactly where many gifted athletes begin to drift away from what made them successful in the first place. Bolt knows that feeling better than anyone. As a teenager, he wasn't simply winning races, he was carrying the hopes of an entire nation. Jamaica believed they had discovered the next global superstar, and expectations became enormous almost immediately. But becoming famous turned out to be much easier than becoming a champion. Bolt has openly admitted that his early years weren't perfect. Moving from junior competition into the professional circuit was far more difficult than he expected. He arrived believing he could beat everyone. Reality had other plans. Instead of dominating the world's best sprinters, he found himself losing race after race. The confidence that came from winning junior championships suddenly disappeared. For the first time in his career, talent alone wasn't enough. Every athlete on the Diamond League circuit was incredibly fast. Every mistake was exposed. Every weakness became obvious. Looking back, Bolt has described that period as one of the biggest learning experiences of his life. Those difficult defeats forced him to mature, trust his coaches, and develop the discipline that would eventually make him an Olympic legend. That's why his warning to Gout carries so much weight. He isn't speaking as an outsider. He's speaking as someone who survived the exact same journey. In many ways, the similarities between their careers are remarkable. Both athletes became international sensations before turning 20. Both broke records at an age when most sprinters are still developing. Both generated comparisons that seemed almost impossible to live up to. But comparisons don't win medals. Preparation does. Discipline does. Consistency does. Bolt believes the transition from junior success to elite competition is where careers are truly made, or broken. That challenge is now waiting for Gout. His next major tests will come against established international stars who have spent years competing under the brightest lights in athletics. Every race will demand more than raw speed. It will require patience, race intelligence, and the ability to handle pressure from millions of fans expecting greatness every time he steps onto the track. Fortunately for Gout, he doesn't seem interested in chasing headlines. Throughout his rise, he has remained calm and focused, choosing to let his performances speak louder than online debates or media speculation. Even when critics questioned his record-breaking times, he avoided public arguments and continued preparing for the next race. That maturity has impressed many observers. Still, the biggest challenges are only beginning. The Diamond League is unlike anything Gout has experienced before. Every competitor is capable of winning. Every mistake can cost precious hundredths of a second. The athletes lining up beside him aren't future stars, they're champions who have already proven themselves on the world's biggest stages. Bolt believes that first experience can be humbling. Not because Gout lacks talent, but because every young sprinter needs time to understand what true elite competition feels like. And perhaps that's the hidden meaning behind Bolt's advice. He isn't asking Gout to fear failure. He's encouraging him to embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Because if Gout can survive the difficult lessons that every great champion eventually faces, then his incredible speed may only be the beginning of an even greater story. And with the World Under-20 Championships, Diamond League races, and eventually the Brisbane 2032 Olympics on the horizon, the entire athletics world is now watching to see whether Gout Gout will follow Bolt's path, or create a legendary path entirely his own. Now the spotlight is brighter than ever. Every time Gout Gout steps onto a track, expectations grow even higher. Fans no longer hope he'll run well, they expect something extraordinary. That's the price of becoming one of the fastest teenagers in history. But expectations don't win races. Preparation does. And that's exactly why Usain Bolt's warning may become the most valuable advice Gout ever receives. Bolt knows that greatness isn't built during the moments when everything is going right. It's built during the setbacks, the disappointing races, and the difficult seasons that every champion eventually faces. Records may introduce an athlete to the world, but resilience is what keeps them there. That lesson is about to become very real for Gout. His Diamond League debut represents far more than another race on the calendar. For the first time, he'll regularly face Olympic champions, world medalists, and experienced professionals who have spent years competing under enormous pressure. These athletes don't panic. They don't get distracted by hype. They know exactly how to perform when the stakes are highest. For Gout, that environment will be the ultimate classroom. Every race will teach him something. Every victory will build confidence. Every defeat will reveal another area to improve. And according to Bolt, that's exactly how champions are made. There's another reason this story matters beyond one athlete. Since Bolt retired after the 2017 World Championships, many fans have felt that track and field has been searching for its next global superstar. While the sport has continued producing incredible athletes, few have captured worldwide attention the way Bolt once did. Gout Gout has the potential to change that. His story already feels different. A teenager from Ipswich, the son of South Sudanese refugees. A young athlete breaking records that once seemed untouchable. Those are the kinds of stories that inspire people far beyond the athletics community. But inspiration alone won't guarantee success. Bolt emphasized another important point during his interview: not every race will produce a personal best. Not every season will go according to plan. There will be injuries, disappointments, and days when the stopwatch doesn't match the expectations of millions watching around the world. The challenge is learning not to let those moments define you. For young athletes, that lesson may be even more valuable than any technical advice about sprinting. Stay patient. Trust the process. Keep the right people around you. Focus on improving instead of chasing headlines. Those simple principles help transform Bolt from a talented teenager into the greatest sprinter the world has ever seen. Now he's hoping Gout follows the same path. Looking ahead, the calendar is filled with defining moments. The World Under-20 Championships offer Gout an opportunity to further establish himself among the sport's brightest young stars. Future Diamond League races will test him against the very best in the world. And then there's the dream that many Australian fans already imagine: the 2032 Brisbane Olympics. Competing on home soil, in what should be the prime years of his career, Gout could become the face of Australian athletics on the biggest sporting stage imaginable. Of course, no one can predict what the future holds. Records can be broken. Careers can change in an instant. New rivals will emerge. The road to greatness is never straight. But one thing is certain. Usain Bolt didn't see Gout Gout as just another promising teenager. He saw a young athlete standing at the same crossroads he once faced himself. That's why his words carried so much meaning. They weren't criticism. They weren't doubt. They were the advice of a champion trying to protect the future of another champion. So perhaps the real story isn't that Gout Gout has already run faster than Usain Bolt did as a teenager. The real story is that the fastest man in history has handed him the blueprint for surviving everything that comes after the records are broken. Now, the next chapter belongs to Gout. And the choices he makes over the next few years may determine whether the world remembers him as a record-breaking teenager, or as the next legendary name in sprinting history. Usain Bolt's message to Gout Gout wasn't meant to create fear. It was meant to prepare him for the reality that every great athlete eventually faces. Raw talent can open the door, but discipline, patience, and the right people are what keep that door open. The next few years won't just determine how fast Gout can run, they may determine whether he truly becomes one of the greatest sprinters of his generation. Now we want to hear from you. Do you think Gout Gout has what it takes to follow in Usain Bolt's footsteps and become the next global sprinting superstar? Or do you believe the biggest challenge ahead isn't his speed, but handling the pressure and expectations that come with it? Share your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion is part of this conversation. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the biggest stories in sports. Thank you for watching, and remember, records can inspire the world, but character is what creates a lasting legacy. Until next time, keep chasing greatness.